Hello and welcome to Decorative. My name is Mary and this is Wes. And tonight is episode 58 and we are discussing our adventure and shenanigans and all the things that we did at the Mudhole Advanced Rod Building Seminar classes.
Lots and lots and lots of things.
We went down Wednesday before so that we could go fishing, and we went fishing with Todd Vivian out on his boat, which thank you, Todd, for taking us because that was so much fun. And we caught a lot of fish. We were hoping to get some reds, but we missed those. They just weren't in the mood that day, but we had a lot of fun. The youngest caught a ladyfish. I caught my first flounder, which apparently was keeper size, but they're out of season, so couldn't keep it regardless. The mangrove snapper were fun. It was like tossing, like they're just continuing to get them. We caught a lot of sheep's head, and there was a puffer fish that we caught that the boys thought was hilarious because Todd was squeezing the air out of him and he'd poof back up. What else am I missing?
Lane snapper.
The lane snapper. Those are fun too.
That was about it.
Yeah, but it was a lot of, we were out for about 4 hours, I think.
Yeah, right at 4 hours.
And we went to Ponce Inlet. Ponce, is it Ponce?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm always like Ponce, but Ponce Inlet, and it was beautiful out there. It was just absolutely gorgeous. You got to pass by a lighthouse and see a bunch of mangroves and just pretty shoreline, honestly. A lot of boats camped out. I guess people sleeping in them.
Yeah.
The sailboats and stuff that we passed by. But so obviously Wednesday or Thursday we had a lot of fun because we were fishing. And then when we get back, the boys are like, okay, can we go fishing in the pond out in front of Mudhole? Because we stopped by to, verify if there was anything that we needed to do Friday morning or whatever. And they went fishing again. And so it was like...
And again.
They are definitely little fishermen in the making, that is for sure.
They are addicted.
Super addicted. Beyond addicted. And I'm happy for it because that gets them off of their electronics some and makes them want to spend time outdoors. Although they are pretty outdoorsy kids, but generally speaking, it's real easy to get sucked up into their video games and just nonstop. But now they're just wanting to fish. We started Friday. Registration was from 12 to 3. So everybody was arriving and kind of hanging out. They were meeting with the vendors, going shopping, talking to people. And as soon as everything started, 3 o'clock was my very first seminar, which I did cork burning and painting, pyrography, whatever you want to call it. And I was able, thankfully, to update what I had been doing. And I went through all the ways of how I was trying to transfer images onto cork and how I failed at all this different stuff and things that I had tried. And we were packing up Monday and Tuesday, and I remembered that I hadn't tried the tattoo cream called Stencil Stuff. It's what it's called, Stencil Stuff. And it looks like lotion, but I had it sitting over here from where I was working on it earlier, and I just never had a chance to play with it. And as I was packing it up, I was like, let me check and see if this is going to be easier, because then I don't have to bring the heat gun. Lo and behold, it actually worked. So they got a first-hand demo of using the stencil stuff to put the stencils on, and then us burning it. And I didn't get through finishing either one of them. I did Joker for one class and Batman for the other. Batman was the closest one because I did these black and white stencils, and the Joker was too detailed oriented, and there was a lot more questions in Group B than there was in Group A, so I didn't get as far with that one. Neither one of them are finished, but at least they got the general idea of how to do it and the best way to go about doing it. And me just explaining that this is probably not something I'm going to settle on. I'm probably continue to keep trying stuff because it is such a pain to pull the tattoo stencil ink back off of the grip. And one of the things that they pointed out was, hey, using all that acetone or isopropyl to remove it, doesn't that kind of eat away at the cork? And I'm like, yeah, it will if you sit there and scrub it to death. Like you'll open up ripples and stuff into it. So it's good to be at these seminars At least how I teach. I don't know if you do it when you're in your classes by yourself, but like I teach the pros, the cons, the ugly, the bad, the good, like all of the things. So they don't have to go through that experiment phase per se.
I don't get the chance to.
His, I finished up my court class and he immediately went into paracord,
Cord
grips.
cord grips. Yeah.
How did that go? Because I actually never got a check. I came in there to check on you and you were like, I'm good,
So,
and I left.
if you've never done any kind of cord grip, it's a time-consuming process for how I usually do it, which is weaving them back and forth. I don't just do like 3 colors down and wrap it around real quick, and I always weave my grips. It's a lot to teach in 45 minutes. So you don't get time to do the pros and cons of different ways. This is how I do it. This is what you can do with these sizes of cord and how you can interchange them to get different effects. This is how I lay it down for this pattern because it's an easy one, because we did the square where it's 4 going this way. So you have to prep it, put down the cork tape, you have to lay it out, you have to start the wrap, lay in your threads. Like, it's a lot to show people how to do.
I feel like you should have had a part 1 and a part 2 for that class. I think that would have broken
it definitely would have been a lot easier to explain, because I forgot to tell everybody that when you're done with your Turk's knots, you need to glue down the tag ends.
You got to
So
glue.
if you're watching this, now you know.
Sorry, he ran out of time. Because he came to me afterwards, he's like, crap, I forgot to tell him to super glue it down. I guess they'll either ask me or they'll figure it out, one of the two. I said, they're going to come to you and be like, hey, it's slipping. And you were like, I forgot to tell you.
But, so I was trying to show how to set it up, how to lay it out, how to get it started. I did like 3 inches worth while sitting there just to show that, hey, you just got to get in a rhythm. And then when you get to the other end, this is how you tie it off.
Yeah.
How to put shrink tube over top of the end of it so that you can put the Turk's knot on. How to use the Turk's jig to be able to start learning how to wrap them in case you don't want to wrap it on the rod. That you can wrap it on. It's
so many steps.
So much to try to do in 45 minutes to an hour. And leave time for questions if somebody has them. So while I was teaching it, I was telling people, hey, while I'm doing this, if you have questions, go ahead and ask them. Because I can talk to you and answer while I'm just sitting here weaving this back and forth.
Yeah, but I gotta get through the steps.
I've got to get to where I need to be to show you the end.
I'm going to do some of those paracord grips on bait nets and make some money.
It's super simple to do. Bait nets, gaffs, push poles would be a good one.
Those big surf rods. They have the big
surf
butts.
rods, rail rods. You could do them on boat rods. I'm trying to think of other
That's about it.
easy items. Bait nets especially, though, because you can just sit there and hold the net. And
A little short thing. Depending on which net you get. But it's a little short grip. It's just one and done. And those they've got kits for the bait nets too, so you can that's what I used for the graffiti one. I used one of the kits and I just changed the handles.
Yeah, we just bought one of the AFCO nets from Mudhole and
made it unique.
Basically, just ripped the EVA off and did a custom one.
I pulled the EVA completely off. It's like it's not even glued on there. It's just sitting there. So I just pulled it off, which it's fine. It's a bait net, whatever. But it's good. It's good money and it's fun. I like paracord grips. I like how you do yours, and we like to do all those knots and stuff. Like previous builds, we had one that had like a 16-inch. I did that one because you were like, "That's too much. I'm not weaving all that," and it took hours to do. Because
We've got another one, another 16-inch. I've got to knock out.
Yeah, well, that one you're doing a basket weave on, right? That's the basket weave. Yeah. But it's super fun grips, my handles, and did you talk about like finishing them? Like if you have to cover them with a sealant or anything?
No. Everyone kept asking, do you seal it? And I don't seal any of my cord grips because I don't like how that feels.
Yeah, they get really like rough and it's hard, and like I feel like that would hurt your hands more so than protecting the cord. And it's such an easy grip to just replace, like you
can replace it or just keep cleaning it and let it dry.
Magic eraser, like the magic eraser is great for everything.
That's one thing I did say, that with paracord or Atwood rope, or if it gets nasty, which it's going to, take Dawn dish soap and a toothbrush, scrub it, rinse it off really well. It's going to be soaked. Wring the water out, set it out in the sun. It could take 2 days, but you got to let it dry.
Yeah, don't put it up mildew.
And you only have to do that because I don't seal them.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't want to grab a Brillo pad.
That's what it reminds me of.
I can't.
And I just don't like how they look either. It's just, ugh, I don't know. Some people do, just not a fan. Not a fan at all. But the class went good, like no issues.
Nope.
Everybody was like super excited
Other
about that
than
class.
glue your Turk's knot ends down on the back side, like the grips in the middle. Glue this side.
Like shove it on the inside.
Like
and
put it back in, lift it, shove it up, put a little glue, push it down, tag in, stays.
Yeah, just don't go crazy with the super glue because it dries white.
Yeah,
so
just a dab will do.
a dab will do.
A dab will do.
He said maybe cork seal or wood sealer.
I'm not gonna seal them.
Yeah, I don't do EVA either. Everybody always asks if I sealed my EVA, and I'm like, no, I want it to get dirty. It's super easy to clean it. It just takes a little bit. It's a little maintenance for your friend that you spend a lot of time on. You know, take a shower with your rod. Like that's what we used to tell people at the pier. Take it in the shower with you and wash it down with you, and then it should be good. You know,
scrub your rod while scrubbing your rod.
The mental image. The mental image. Oh my goodness. But I do want to take a minute. I want to thank our sponsors, Mudhole and Foundation Outdoor Group, because they allow us to be able to travel to teach and have fun at these things and to be able to help other people learn their stuff and grow. And I think I mean, granted, I love building rods. I love what I do, but also as the teacher side of me, I like to watch other people get better. I like to watch them expand. I like them to try new things, and allow a Mudhole allowing us to come to these events and helping us with certain stuff has definitely been able to be one of those things where we can kind of travel more, you know, especially going to like Foley and all these other places now that we're doing it. So we're blessed to be working kind of with a company that gives back to the community so much with their teaching, and has now started a whole different genre of stuff that is yet to come. So I'm really excited about that. And also, don't forget, when you're ordering at mudhole.com, to use the discount code.
That has changed.
Discount code will start to change every 3 months, just so that you guys are aware. This current one right now is called Wrap This 10. It saves you 10% off of CRB, MHX, Gaho Reel Seats, American Tackle, and also Pro products. And use it every single time. That way you get at least 10% off whenever there's no sales going on. So that was how Friday was. After we finished up, his class was the last one of the day with somebody else opposite. I don't remember who our opposites were because I was so focused on our schedule. But we kind of had a little social, little hangout kind of thing. A lot of people took off because Saturday was the big day. It was going to be a really long day, and then Saturday morning we started off the day again around 7:30. I think is when 7:15, 7:30 when we got there and started trying to get everything set up. And now, keep in mind, our kids are with us and they're running around hanging out with the other people, and they allowed them to go upstairs and watch TV in a room, which I was so thankful. And a lot of the people, Mo and them, were taking the boys fishing when we were tied up, so I was really thankful for that. But we started Saturday morning with me at 8 o'clock with Thread Art Part 1. And this is the one that I mentioned in the previous podcast that I was like having a fit because I had just figured something else out. I was literally having a crisis moment. Like, I have been teaching decorative wraps a certain way for 14 years. Ever since I started, more like 10 years. I've been figured it out, and then I started teaching it and learning the entire time as I'm going. And I had this one wrap I started at the beginning of October, and it's finished, but it was driving me nuts because I had spaced it bigger. Like, the biggest spacing for that pattern wouldn't take up the whole rod, so I made it a little bit bigger, figuring, if it closes a little bit early, like, no big deal. Well, it was spaced for like 9 or 10 passes or something, and it was starting to close up at pass 4. And I was like, what in the world? And I had triple checked the night before and I counted my threads and I did all this stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, I need to bump these out a little bit. So I've already made adjustments to it, but it's starting to close at like 4 or 5 passes in. And I'm like, can I not read calipers? I started that class with asking how experienced they were with decorative wraps, and about half the class was complete newbies. And I was like, oh, this one's going to be a little above their head, but I've got to get this out there so that I can reset them in part 2. And so I prefaced them, look, there's going to be a lot of numbers thrown at you, and they might not make any sense, but I promise I'm going to dumb it down the next go around. But I have to explain why you need to do what I'm about to tell you to do. And after I got that wrap closed up, I probably spent 10.5 hours on a 9-inch wrap. I started measuring all of my thread, and we've all been taught, and I have been teaching, which is where it led into I have lied to you for the last 10 years. And they all went, what? And some of them are confused because it's the first time being there anyways. And I'm like, I have lied to you. And here's why. When I measured all of the thread and stuff out, once you have all your stuff on there, you can get an average for how many threads you're getting per millimeter. And Dale Clemens specifically said in his book, he can't give you spacing for all the decorative wrap patterns because the blanks are also different sized and different tapers, and people are going to pack differently. And the only measurement he ever gave you about spacing was he uses 4.5 threads per millimeter for size A. And that's all he said. That was the only time he mentioned it. The rest of the book is just the patterns and how to set up wraps and, all this other great information. And so you're like, and he even says this is no good for the beginner because you have nothing to base it off of. You just need to start taking notes and start compiling your own spacing charts. Well, when I read that as a beginner, I was like, well, this doesn't do me any good. And I moved on to Billy's book, the one that you threw at me. And his book says 4.1 threads per millimeter if you're using Madeira. And so I've just been teaching 4 threads per millimeter, right? Just made sense, 4, average. And I asked them, I said, knowing the wraps that I brought, patterns that I packed, how I teach, and they always say, cram one more in there. How many threads do you think I'm putting into a millimeter? And they all were saying like 6, 7, 5, like, and I said, yeah, I would have guessed that too. 3.5. I went back and started measuring all the wraps that are in the house and was getting the same number. 3.5 threads per millimeter of Madeira. And I was having a crisis because I was like, this is why I kept running out of space. Mm-hmm. Like, this is why I've been struggling to get the patterns to work the right way because I'm using somebody else's math. And so I went through and taught them how to get their own measurement, which is basically just wrapping like 20 passes. You have to do a long pass. You can't just do like per millimeter because you can kind of shift your numbers around a little bit, but you got to wrap like 20 passes of a chevron, pack it like you normally would, and then take your calipers and measure it, and you'll figure out what your thread count per millimeter is, and that's what you need to use for your spacing. I just assumed over these years I was just doing something wrong. I just under the assumption I'm just not packing correctly, or maybe I messed up when I was measuring it. Something's wrong. Well, yeah, I was using somebody else's math and taking that as the holy, like, that's it.
Because that'll exponentially get worse the further you go.
Yeah. And on a lot of these patterns where I'm doing a lot of like the +1s or something, I'm running out of space way before I should, and I'm having to shove them out because I'm not allowing myself the 3.5 threads per millimeter that I should have been. I've been doing 4, which means that the spacing was smaller. I need to make it bigger. But yeah, like I literally opened that class, both A and B, with "I've lied to you," and which caught everybody's attention. And then they were like, "Oh, real quick, man, are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Then the women that were in those groups came up to me and they were like, well, we're here to learn, like, we're really excited about it. Or like they had like their teenage son with them that was really getting into rod building. They were like, it was a little over my head. And I was like, tell me what you want to learn today. And I threw out my lesson plan for part 2. And I said, screw it, we'll just go with what you guys want to do. And literally did that. I had brought VisualWrap, showed them the progressions of stuff so we could count the threads and like prepped them for how to count your own threads so that you could do your own spacing. You would never have to rely on anybody else's math. And hopefully have better success from that instead of, constantly, running out of space too fast or having to push patterns out. If I can cut off an extra hour that I'm spending on a wrap because I'm packing it out so much, that saves me a whole lot of hassle and time at the end of the day. Yeah. And a lot of less cramps. So that's how part 1 went. Part 2, we went over beginner-friendly patterns. I gave them my top 5 to where to start for them. Which was like, I didn't give them any of the multi-axis ones. I gave them an elongated chevron, a diamond, a snowflake, a spider.
All the starts to every other pattern.
The maze. Yeah, all the starts to, and I gave them the maze. And I explained to them the maze and how my personal experience with trying to read the maze was really confusing, and I ended up not doing it right. But I showed them the progression on VisualWrap, and they were like, that's easy. And I'm like, I know, when you see it, it's great and easy. But when you're trying to read the directions where it says up, left, down, right, like what? You know, because I was telling them that my directions don't match actually, because me and David actually fight about this.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, no, that's not the right thing. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense in my brain what you're saying to me, so I've just consolidated it differently.
Yep.
We're all doing the same thing.
Yep.
Just get on my page with my verbiage. And if you don't, just, it's fine. Don't agree with me. But I'm teaching it this way because 90% of people understand it that way.
That's what kept me from understanding decorative wraps is, well, which way is up, which way is down, which way is top, which way is bottom, which way is left, right, and down right, and up left, and am I talking up as in the tip of the rod is up, or are we talking up as in I'm looking at the pattern and the top half is up? Or are we talking about I'm going up this way and then up this way? Is that up right or is that up left? Because there's a problem. I'm sorry.
So group A, we didn't even have it. Group B, one of the people wanted to know what the directions meant. I said, look, I'm going to be honest. I don't teach the directions because it's confusing. And explain that me and Dave thought about this before because I just don't agree with how he says it. But that doesn't mean that he's not right. It just means that my brain can't relate to what he's saying. And I told him how I look at it is when you're facing the rod and the butt is in the chuck. The butt is my left and the tip of the rod is my right. To me, when you're moving up the rod. And when you're moving down the rod. And yes, we have a top and a bottom to, let's just say a diamond that's going this way. To me, these directions are both down. These directions are both down. You know, and if I take that diamond and I split it in half, this is my right side of that diamond because it's my right hand, and this is my left side of that diamond, that's my left hand. Dave tells me it's wrong, and I'm like, I can't. And whenever it says across, I say away from me, it's going that way around the rod. And when it's going down, or I don't even remember what the other direction is, but it's coming towards me in my lap. And I was like, let me just show you. And I put it up on the projector and I was like, this is the directions it's saying. Because we broke down the fish wrap too. One that had no spacing involved in it. And it has a lot of those up, lefts, down, rights, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, I can understand it because I can see it. And I said, and that's the benefit of having VisualWrap. But if you're not super addicted to decorative wraps, $100 for VisualWrap is a big investment. And I was like, you have to think that you're going to love it, or you have to know that you love it, starting off with some basic stuff. And
you have to know that you love the look of it and want to produce those looks.
And keep doing it, you know, like it's, because once you buy it, it's yours for life. You can't transfer it to somebody else.
You can't sell it to anybody else. You can't.
But I use it
to your IP.
I use it all the time. And I have just started diving into making my own patterns with it, which has been fun. But I am sadistic when it comes to mine because mine have way too many cross points on them. But it's just where I'm at in the journey. But part 2 for A and B got very different classes because they had very different needs. Every time. And so there was no structure for me to stick to because once they stepped into it, I said, what do y'all want to learn? And we went over tension. We went over all the things. And then even had time to watch patterns come together. It was right above my head. And then those same women that were like, I was overwhelmed, you know, I really want to do it. And then they came back, they were like, oh my gosh, I get it now. Thank you. And I was like, hey, I'm here for you. I just threw my lessons plans for part 2 out the window and just said, let's do what you guys want to do.
Well, it benefits them more that way.
Well, they pay in to learn something. I want them to go home and be able to do something, you know?
Yeah.
Steve says, I just bought VisualWrap, trying to figure it out. What a program. Thanks to David Bowl. Big thanks to David Bowl. Like, I love that program, 100%. It makes it super easy to see how the patterns are formed. You can literally print the spacing to your rod. You can change colors really fast. You can write your own patterns when you get there. Like, I love it. But I always warn beginners, it's an investment. So you really need to make sure you love decorative wraps. Don't spend $100 then plus the pattern packs, because obviously you got to have all the pattern packs too, so you see all the patterns. But it's an investment. But if you love it, get it. Yeah, I don't understand how to read up, left, or upright. I still don't. I just don't even pay attention to it. I just go, it's going that way.
Just get you one of these. Get you one of these.
Yeah.
I need a decorative wrap on this.
Yeah. That's what you did with me.
It is. And it worked.
Always wanted to try VisualWrap. There's a couple videos I put out on YouTube about how to use the program and what it's good for and all the things that you can do. If you're interested in learning a little bit about it before you do it, like, check that video out. David Boyle is the creator. He's on threadcentral.net. He's who I share the website with. He created the program. And it's amazing. It really is. I don't use everything that VisualWrap is made to do because I'm stuck in my old ways, but I'm trying to adapt to things that make time, more efficient kind of stuff. So it's got taper offset built into it, and like it's really great. It really is. I had my 2 thread art classes, part 1 and part 2. Part 1, and then there was a break for me, and then part 2, and then immediately as soon as part 2 ended, Wes and I were marbling together. We set Wes up to start because he was teaching the basic beginner friendly, like here's the consistent way to do it. And Bob had wanted me to teach the artsy stuff, the fun things that I had been trying. And so I had Wes start off, and I was mixing his epoxies and stuff for him, and just went through his basic kind of, this is how I do it. And you were done in like, what, 10 minutes?
10 minutes. That's all it ever takes.
We had started on somebody else's wrapper, and I needed the dryer to turn, and this one didn't have one on there. So while he's doing his for group A, I'm running around asking Bob, "Hey, can I borrow y'all's display? Because I need the dryer." And so I come bebop it over there with the dryer and everything. And I make him move, and because I needed the dryer for how I do mine, like I have to have it turning, otherwise I'm gonna throw it everywhere if I'm relying on the pedal. And I had Wes start mixing up my epoxy, and I used the CRB pigments, and I was also bringing in the Flex Coat CP to use as a thickener instead of mud, so that I could measure it out. Still trying to figure out how many drops is the perfect amount still, but we're getting there. I think we used 12 while we were down
12
there.
12 the first time, 11 the second time, and 8 plus a splooge one time.
So that was group A that you did that in, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's mixing up my stuff. I had him count out the stuff while I was explaining what I was doing, blah, blah, blah. And he got a bubble in the syringe. And
it wasn't even a bubble.
No.
I was trying, you know how when you grab the syringes and you're trying to do droplets,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it'll catch and then it jumps. That's what happened. It didn't have a bubble, it just jumped.
And so everybody erupts in laughter because Wes is sitting there going, uh-oh. And I'm like, what did you do?
Nothing, just keep going.
Just keep going. And then he starts talking about it splooged in the cup, and he has no idea how many drops are in there. And I was like, well, guess we're going to find out how many's in there when I go to mess with it. But luckily, it was fine. So it ended up working just fine. Kevin Thomas had just finished class with Cindy from Mudhole. It got me hooked. What would you suggest is a good starting pattern for decorative wraps? I'm assuming?
Yes.
I would start with a snowflake, just because it's a real simple box out the entire time. Or I know the maze is only friendly if you've seen it like in a progression photo. It's not when you're trying to look at the actual directions. I think another one, obviously a diamond is fun. If you haven't done a diamond yet, that's pretty easy. And I personally like the spider. It is a beginner friendly pattern, but it is an introduction to the +1 background. And I like +1 backgrounds because they close really quick, and they make the patterns have like these fun little like arms. All your arms, the star patterns and the spiders and things, like anything that has arms that are sticking out from the pattern, where it progressively goes from thick to real thin, that is a +1 background usually that's causing that. Basically, the +1, how it works if you've never encountered one, is on your very first pass, your layout, you put 1 thread down. The second time you go around to do your sequence of steps, you put 2 threads down. For your second pass, third pass, 3 threads, 4 threads, 5, and so on and so on. Chevron is a good one too. If you're doing like an elongated chevron, which is using your taper offset to do it. That one's good. Chevrons you should always start with a chevron, then you should try a diamond, and then from there, snowflake, any of that stuff. Because a chevron is half of a diamond, so if you can master a chevron and a diamond, you know how to do every other pattern shape there is, because everything is based off of boxes or chevrons. But yeah, so we get through our marbling demo, and all of our stuff that we marbled while we were there, we completely erased because we were reusing the same PVC pipe
for the very next class,
and we were not going to leave one turning all night long and just wipe it off, and we got asked about, if we put thread underneath, and we're like, no, because why? I don't like the dragging. And plus, if I don't like it multiple times in a row, now I've got to deal with stained thread that's underneath of it. So I just work straight to blank or a PVC when I'm practicing. Practice on PVC or a broken blank so you get the feel for it. Don't practice on something that's like a dowel or anything, because that's going to have a different drag feel than other stuff. And most of the talk was about the nail stuff that I brought that I use. My fine liner brushes, my dotting tools that I use as drag tools sometimes, the silicone tip nail art brushes. You can do different stuff with that too. And all I taught them was the basic C drag, where literally that's all I'm doing. I'm starting from the outside of my dots and dragging it in. But one of the reasons why I love going to these seminars is the students, like the people that are taking the class, are going, have you thought about doing this? And one guy approached me, it was after the class, but it was later that night, and he was like, what about pipettes? Have you ever thought to use a pipette to drop your dots? Because it seems like it'd be really quick. And I'm like, no. And that's brilliant. And so I literally took my phone out and put a reminder on my calendar to test the pipettes, because I had some here. Now, my test, I did it so fast. It was a couple days ago. It ended up being awful.
It's still not dry, by the way.
It's tacky, right? Yeah. Like something got messed up I probably pulled one not quite where I thought it was when I did it, but whatever.
I grabbed it this morning and went, yeah, that's not, no.
I should have just wiped it off, but I wanted to see I wanted to see if the color preserver would hold any better than the previous ones did, but I used the pipette and it worked. Would need to cut the tip of the pipette off a little bit more to get it into the dropper or into the syringe, but it would work. Like it would make it super fast. So this is why I like going, because other people were like, well, hey, what about this? And I'm like, I don't know, gotta go test it, let's try it, that kind of thing. And then that night, right after our marbling duo class ended, we went right into food and the live music that night.
Yeah.
Which was Bill Falconer playing his guitar and singing, and that was Saturday night. Saturday night was brisket. I ended up helping serve out the brisket, and Brooke was beside me, and Jen was on the other side, and we're getting everybody's plates fixed for them. And
in case y'all didn't know, it's $75 to go to that seminar. You get $75 worth of food just on Saturday.
Just Saturday night.
That's not including all the classes and the stuff that they gave away this year just for signing up.
They got a bag this year that had American Tackle guides in it.
They had the Tie Forge guide kit, hat, stickers.
There's some koozies, wasn't there?
Koozies and something else.
A lanyard or something that was in there. I can't remember. But, I mean, they have the mud hole shopping bags, like, with the stuff in it, and everybody that had paid for the class got one. And we were like, oh, that's awesome. You guys got bags this year. Yeah. Friday, we had, like, a snack bar that, like, Jen had put together, which was a ton of food. Like, we had so much left over. And then Saturday lunch was subs and popcorn chicken from Publix.
Rooster Balls.
Wes was calling them rooster balls to everybody that come up to him. And then you had the brisket dinner Saturday night, and then Sunday there's snacks left out for, if anybody's hungry. And they have a cooler full of beer. They've got 4 or 5 coolers that have sodas and water, and it's just
coffee on tap
until everybody drinks it, and then everybody's trying to get it out of the pot. And we're just like, that was the biggest thing, was everybody would drink the coffee before I could get a refill. And all of us, like vendors and people who are doing the classes, were like, we need more
coffee.
Need more coffee. But Saturday was very, at that point I had talked 6 hours. 6 hours just talking, not in between, just the classes, 6 hours. Randy, how do you do 2 patterns in the same wrap? It's not complicated. I'm trying to think what's the breeziest way to do it.
You can do them at the same time.
Yeah.
Or you can do one, finish, and do another over top.
In the open space. So both of them are going to have differences. If you do one pattern, then you have a bunch of background that you want to put another pattern into. You can put it in the center. Obviously, do your space and make sure it's center. Put your pattern there and wrap that second. Okay, so you have one pattern you completely finish, and then you come back and you do the second one. What's going to happen for the sides of that wrap is you're going to get stripes. There's going to be stripes all the way around from where the threads are being laid down. It looks cool. I've done it before. I personally like to do both wraps together so that I get what side patterns are called. But it depends on which pattern you're doing. How I set mine up for just doing a 2-axis wrap, which doing 2 patterns makes a 4-axis. I'm not trying to get too...
Don't you have a video about this?
I think I've got a video somewhere, but I can't remember. But I am going to give a short answer. But there is a more detailed video floating around out there somewhere. You take your 0-axis numbers from your taper offset, and you put your zeros on your 0 axis. Then you take your 180 numbers and you put your 180 numbers on your 180 axis, okay? The easiest way to put a second pattern into that is now you get your 0 up here, 180 down here, and you got all your numbers already marked. Now you're going to take your 180 numbers and you're going to incorporate them into your 0 axis, and your 0 axis numbers are going to be added, so you have both of them on both axes. That gives you your centers for all your patterns, and then you can figure out your spacing, and you can wrap them at the same time. If you're doing +1 backgrounds, there's some math. You got to make sure it's not going to run out of space, but I will have to find the video where I am discussing the 2 patterns, and I will put it back into the comment so that you guys can go check it out. But I can't remember if it's a short or if it's a long video, but I've got one somewhere.
Neryl said, do you have an Amazon store? I think they canceled it.
We used to. I don't have enough.
Not enough people bought from it to keep it active, so Amazon canceled it.
I should, because the running joke all weekend was...
It's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. I got it from Amazon. So every time that somebody would be like, where'd you get it from? And everybody started answering for me. They'd be like, she got it from Amazon. And I'm like, yeah, it came from Amazon. I buy everything.
Our rewards points are outstanding.
Yeah, they are.
What brand Sharpie?
Sharpie paint pens, the extra fine point. Remember, don't depress it after you do it originally, or it's going to explode on you. But yeah,
never work again.
Never work again. Sharpie paint pen. Make sure you get the extra fine point. Don't get the fine point. The fine point is the same size as a normal permanent marker. It makes a really fat line. But that was basically Saturday. Saturday was a lot of fun. A whole lot of talking for me, but I was very happy just to be there and to be just talking about stuff I loved, and thankfully helping people figure out how to do what I thought was the marbling. Obviously has been a whole big endeavor that I've shared, but just people being able to see it in real time and be able to ask the questions. You're like, what are you doing exactly? I'm doing this. And it always helps because you got this big projector behind you and they have a camera focused on you. So you can talk to them and they can watch what you're doing from an overhead where, my hair's not getting in the camera way or anything like that. So it's really cool. But I do want to talk about our product of the night tonight.
Stack and save deals for pre-Black Friday. So the first one is 25% off all American Tackle guides, guide kits, and tip tops. That came out
a few days ago, didn't it?
A few days ago. They just put out 25% off on CRB and CRB Pro tools and equipment. That does include the G2.
So 25% off what they have on the Pro RBS Pro G2 with all the Pro stands, like the wrapper I use. Dropped it to like 6 or 7 something.
7 something. And then wrap this 10, put it at like $6.93 after taxes.
So I encourage you to check out, even if the wrap this 10 doesn't actually stack with it, I encourage you to go purchase your wrappers and tools and stuff right now.
Yeah, because they're heavily discounted.
They're 25% off. Like, this doesn't come around very often.
And if the code works, great. Congratulations. If it does and we get in trouble, sorry. Sorry. Oops. But yeah, go check that out, because then they're going to be continuing to drop new sales every few days, aren't they? It's dropping, I want to say, every few days up until Black Friday.
Yeah, so hopefully this whole month you'll be able to save some money. So if you've got your eye on something, I guarantee it's probably going to have a nice little 25% off. So continue to keep checking back. But the wrappers, I was like, dang, that's a good...
Yeah, because they've been running with the Pro stands.
The most expensive one,
$979, $989.
Yeah, almost obviously after taxes, $1,000.
And most of that's because of aluminum pricing.
But for it to drop to 7 and some change, like that's a good deal. That's a real good deal. So go get them, just in case. And then we go into Sunday, and Sunday I love Bob, but Bob likes to put me first thing in the morning. So I'm always like struggling, because I'm always. Saturday night we hang out, like we stay until basically everybody leaves, and like it's like, all right, we're gonna go back out to the hotel. But yeah, we come in Sunday morning. I'm part 1 and part 2 for EVA, and as per the normal on Sunday, most of us are struggling, and I was so tired, but I didn't have enough coffee either. But I was teaching them how to do the overlays, how to actually do a EVA grip overlay. And I was also teaching them how to do an inlay in both of those classes, because I knew that the inlay process was going to back off of the overlay process. What?
I heard you were teaching them what not to do.
Yeah, I was doing a whole lot of that. That's what I was getting to. I come down prepped. Like I had spent time cutting out some stuff. I explained all the different ways that you can cut it with a razor blade, with a little, I call it a jeweler saw, but the little saw that comes with the cork rings, and you can do the splits and stuff. That's the same saw. You can cut EVA with it. You can cut big chunks of EVA with it too, but it's not the cleanest with the thick stuff. But I use it when I'm having to hand make all of my images, like Beetlejuice and things of that nature, where I can't get the Cricut to cut it. And explaining that they don't have to spend $500 on a machine to do it.
$350 if you wait till Black Friday.
We did $350, so I got a deal regardless. But running by itself, when it's not on sale, it's like a $500 machine. We didn't pay that. But I had glued up one of the inlays. We glued up the other one that I had done in the class. I had 2 sets, for A and for B. Mm-hmm. So I show them how to glue it up, what to do with the paper, all this stuff. And I start talking about how you're supposed to cut them and make sure they fit. Well, I brought just the tube EVA that you can get from Mudhole, or the American Tackle ones. It's like one's saltwater size, one's a little bit smaller. And I just brought those because I was like, whatever, I'm probably not going to keep these. I was, just talking, answering questions, and I'm cutting it, and I forgot that I brought the saltwater size one, and I had cut it for the freshwater one. So when I went to glue it on, and the seam was like this far apart, like it was not going to close up, and I was like, oh crap! I caught it in group B before we had actually started to roll it on there, and so I quickly reset and just cut some blank ones just to wrap. But then when I went back to group A to fix it, I still cut it too short. Mm-hmm. And so I never got the seams together. And I was like, so this is what you don't do. Don't do this.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Do as I say. Don't do this. This is what we don't want. I ended up having to teach them how to use the contact cement to get the thing off too, to flood it.
Good thing to know.
I taught them all of the things that not to do and ways to fix the oopses, which I think is kind of helpful. And they're all joking and laughing, and they're like, no, I totally get it, understand what you're trying to say. And I'm like, okay. I always hate when I have such a massive flub up.
It always happens on Sunday though.
It's always Sunday when it happens. But those classes ended up back to back. So I had 4 hours straight, because the break that was built in for me to take, like, I think 20 or 30 minute break,
it was 30 minutes,
got written over because the other presenter took longer, which made my class, obviously we don't switch.
You know who the other one was?
Who was it? Was it Bill?
Who talks the most?
Was it Bill? Was it Bill Falconer? Bill Falconer, dang it, you screwed me over. But I did. I had 4 hours back to back on Sunday. But they learned how to do the overlay whenever you're putting the images on your grips, and they learned how to do if you want to sink it into the hole, not have a seam on the back. And I went through all the sanding procedures and ways to fix things if you get them screwed up, and why you shouldn't have holes in them, because water's going to make it explode over time, and yada yada yada. Like they got all the things. Like I said, I teach the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I do a whole lot of messing up sometimes. But I'm like, but I do know what I'm talking about, I promise. And I was trying to also tell them that sometimes you can stretch the EVA to get the seam to work, and it didn't that time. So I was like, this is why you don't rely on the stretch.
That's if it's like this close.
You cut it to fit. Like this it is close. You cut it to fit. And then if it stretches a little bit, cool, because you just take that cling wrap and just sink it down.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, the events are super fun. Mm-hmm. Like, I learn stuff while I'm there, and people give me ideas of things to try. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. I think that's the great thing about it. Or you get into these debates with people. I didn't have many debates this year. The last few years, I've always had some big debate with somebody about whether or not I was doing it the right way. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, I'm just doing what I know.
There's usually always that one guy.
Somebody is always debating something. Somebody.
And it's not the same guy. Like,
no.
There's always one in a crowd that I call them the old man syndrome.
It's usually always an older person. They're set in their
ways. They've always done it this way, but they're being introduced, because they're going out and taking these seminars, they're being introduced to different ways, but it makes them question. And so they're not meaning it in a bad way or a mean way or anything. It's the old man in them. Like, well, my grandfather was the same way.
Oh, yeah.
He's very blunt, this is how I do it.
I still remember.
It's just hilarious.
I still remember when I was learning. Remember, because I used to have to sit there and go up, 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 down, 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 down. For me to like, I mean, like literally, I struggled to teach myself how to do the wraps, and it was like down, 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 because down, down was on this side down, and this was like up. Like I had my own stuff, I had my own language, and I would speak to myself, and I had asked him,
still does.
Please don't. Well, I don't tell myself the directions anymore, but I do talk, and I was like, please don't interrupt me. But your grandpa would come over and be standing over me, watching me work, already making me nervous to begin with, because he's sitting there like watching. He's like, why are you doing it that way? And I'm like, I don't know, because this is how I figured out how to do it. Is that the right way? I don't know. Like, and he's like, well, I wouldn't do it that way. I was like, well, then how would you do it? Wouldn't do it that way. And he'd walk off, and it's like, what way would you do it?
It's the old man syndrome. It's the supervisor status. That's what that is.
Like, what? If you're going to critique what I'm doing, please inform me of what I should do that make it smarter. No, I just wouldn't do it that way. And he literally would
just walk away,
and
go have a cigarette, be
like,
done.
Don, what the hell? Now I'm questioning life. He'd always do that. Oh. But yeah, you do get those people that want to ask, or they ask the really complicated, like it's how their brain works. They'll ask
the
me
very technical,
the very extremely technical kind of math version of like something that's I have dumbed down for me to understand, and I'm like, there's always some time during the weekend that I'm like,
wait a minute,
say that again,
run that back again,
one more time. Oh, okay, yes, you're right. And everybody's laughing because I'm going, what? You know?
What did you just say to me?
What are you trying to explain to me? I don't understand. But it's just the difference in how people
process
stuff. Like engineer mind. Completely different than how my mind works.
Ours are completely different.
Yeah, me and you will fight about stuff.
And we're saying the exact same thing.
We are.
And I finally look at her and go, look, would you stop? Because we're saying the same thing. You're saying it how you understand. I'm saying it how I understand, so that I know I'm saying what you're saying by saying it my way of what you're saying while you're saying it your way. Just stop.
It's confusing as hell. He's saying something, and it is the exact same thing, but the way he's saying it, I'm like, no. And he's like, but that's what you're doing. And I'm like, no. Like, we have gotten into heated fights. Arguments over it. And then it's like, stop, reset. What are you doing? And I'm like, I physically show him. And he's like, that's what I'm saying. And I was like, well, then you're saying it completely wrong to me because I don't understand what you're saying. And he's like, okay, well, we're both on agreement, so that's all that matters. And I'm like, cool.
Just keep doing your thing. I'm going to say it my way, and
just don't talk to me about it. Just show me.
Just don't ask me to explain it back to you because you're going to be mad.
But not everybody processes things the same way. So, you know, when I get tripped up on those, like, technical questions of, like, it's always the math and the decorative wraps. I'm always like, okay, yeah, you're overcomplicating it. But yes, absolutely, that's how to do it. If that makes sense to you, then do it. And I think one of the most important things I harped on all weekend with the cork burning, with the marbling, with the decorative wraps, with the grip stuff was, especially in the decorative wrap classes, was if you don't feel comfortable trying to follow a pattern, if you're wanting to just sit down and just let it all come to you, and you wrap whatever you want to wrap, and it ends up being something that you fall in love with, guess what? Perfect. You know, we don't have to abide by these rules and these set standards. And his pattern's supposed to be like, yes, if you want it to look like a spider, then you need to follow the steps that the spider has done so it looks like a spider at the end. But if you're just going to sit down and wing it and do something cool. But if you want it to
look like a granddaddy long leg, make it look that way.
Do what you want. Like, who is to say, and this is what I kept harping on, who is to say that your art, because every time that we put something decorative on a rod, it's your art. Who's to say your art is wrong? People are not going to like it.
I will.
People are going to.
But it don't mean it's right.
There's some people that are going to love it. There's some people that aren't going to like it. There's some people that aren't going to really care. It's your art. Art is such a hard thing to critique when it comes to, like, the subject of it being an art thing, because it's so objective, you know, like it's based on what the person's trying to convey. So I'm not going to be able to, like, if somebody comes up to me and goes, well, how do you think my rod looks? Well, like, are you wanting the critiqued part of it? Or are you just wanting the general kind of like how it flows? Because there's a bunch of different things that we can divide that into. But generally speaking, if you sit down and you do an abstract wrap, you just throw down a whole bunch of threads and you call it a day, guess what? It's a decorative wrap.
Yep.
If you throw down, there's one that Tom Kirkman did. I think he called it a freeform wrap. He put CP on a solid band of color and just laid thread down in like circles. It kind of, what's that map that shows the
topographical?
It looks like a topographical map, and you're just putting thread down in certain little circles. or little squishes, little blobs. And it's in one of the rod makers, but that's a decorative wrap. It doesn't have a pattern. You just did something cool on it. So your art, when you put stuff on a rod, that's your art. Is everybody gonna love it? No. Maybe some people love it, maybe some people don't. It doesn't matter. If you're happy with it and you're proud of it, if your customer loves it, that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
It's your art. We have a really cool thing to give away tonight. Probably going to get one for ourselves, because I need to replace.
Probably going to get 2 to replace that.
I got to replace that because I love our rod stand. Mark Krause and one of his, I think it was
Michael
made it. Yeah, I think Michael Downs made it. But it was the display rod for the competition one year for the displays. But it's a wooden. It's long. It's wooden. It's very nicely put together. We've carried it around for years. We've had it in the shop, but we're running out of space, and we need to
put more rods
in a smaller
space.
So tonight's giveaway is going to be an aluminum rod stand
from Mudhole.
Brand new. They just have this listed on their website. The way this works is Wes is going to ask a question. The first one to answer the question completely and fully in the comments is the winner. So, what is the question, sir?
In what year was Mudhole initially founded? Duncan, congratulations.
Congrats, Duncan. You were the first one. So, in 1976 is when Mudhole was first founded. And they actually have it on their little... is it on their logo?
One of the logos on the site.
One of the logos on the site actually says when they were founded.
1976.
And we're going to roll right into our Q&A at this point in time. So any questions, comments, concerns, anything that we may have discussed tonight, anything you want to know about rod building or any upcoming stuff that's going on, whatever. Just
helping me convince Mary to start decorating for Christmas.
This is the time. This is the time to ask those questions, get them asked. Randy, like I said, I'm going to go try to hunt down those 2 pattern videos that I have because I know I put some content out about it, and I'll try to put it back in the chat. That way you can find it. It won't be tonight, just so you know. So I just started building rods about a year ago, and I'm struggling with figuring out measurements as the rod gets smaller at one end, and bigger at the other end. Is there a book or some chart or something that might help me figure out some of this? So with decorative wraps, we have to use what's called taper offset spacing in order to accommodate for it getting smaller down here at the tip versus down here at the butt. And basically what it does is it takes the tip measurement numbers and the butt measurement numbers, and it basically flip-flops them so that the patterns are closer together here and they start to stretch out as they get further out. I have an Excel file that I use all the time. And if you just give me your email address, I'll be happy to send it to you. And I can also give you the video that explains how to use it. It just basically all millimeters is what it needs. And you can adjust your information in there for it to give your spacing for you for your centers. It doesn't give you spacing for like the patterns, but it'll get your centers so that the wraps will close easier. Snakeskin, can I stitch like leather grips or would it rip in your opinion?
Depends on how thick it is.
Yeah, I don't know how thick that one is that we sent you. You can stitch it. You may just have to reinforce where the seam is at with a thinner leather or something.
Mm-hmm.
But you should be able to stitch it.
Like, take a thin strip of leather on the back and glue it and then punch the holes and then sew it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would reinforce it just in case.
Especially on the edge.
Yeah, especially on the edge. Because I will personally tell you, the thicker stuff that I use for our grips and stuff when I'm doing the tooling and stuff, I have ripped my thread through the edge of the leather before, pulling too tight.
Mm-hmm.
And have completely ruined the entire grip just at the final stitching stage. Lovely.
That'll really piss you off.
Yeah. Having never had a snake skin, I don't know if it's thick or not. From the snake skins that I've used, I wouldn't stitch them without reinforcing them because they are pretty thin.
But you can always take a grip and inlet it,
mm-hmm.
like sink it down, and then put the snake skin in it, and then coat over top of it.
Duncan says he loves the hat. We actually got the hat while we were at Mudhole.
So I need more companies to make big hats.
Here we go. Here we go.
This is the only hat, only brand that fits me properly.
What is it? A Richardson?
Yeah.
XL, ain't it?
112 XL.
We got them made. So Carrie, Michael Ward's wife, she has Red Wolf Laser, and she was at Mudhole making her little hat bars again. It was at the expo, and I got hats for both the boys and for me and Wes.
Oh my God.
I have.
Can we talk about our oldest hat selection, please?
Hold on. She only had that color in the extra large for him, but I got a blue and gray one, blue and silver, that has our new logo on it. So she made them literally there. But yeah, our oldest. What happened? Because you were in charge of this.
No, you had the bright idea. You had the bright idea to tell them pick whatever they want.
With supervision.
I wasn't there when he picked it.
Oh,
you
Lord.
were.
No, I wasn't. I was not with them. I was doing the seminar. She come up to me and said the hats are done. I said, okay, great. I figured you had your hand in it.
He picked it out by himself because I had gone to get the youngest.
I was doing Sunday's seminar when she came up to me. I was not involved in that.
Anyway, so he picks out a hunter green hat that has tarpon scales underneath, right? He then goes.
Beautiful hat.
Very pretty hat. It's got the little, like, I call it chain, but it's like the little rope that goes here. It's like green and white. Cool hat. And then he goes to pick the fish that he wants to put on it.
I was hoping they'd get a saying or something, but no.
This fool put a walleye.
He put a walleye
On his tarpon hat. And it drives me crazy every time I see him wearing it.
Because you see the tarpon pattern under his bill, and there's a freaking walleye on the top.
And I just laugh. Like, only you, son. Only you.
What fish did the youngest get?
He got a tuna on a blue hat.
Yeah, that works. Like, no, I was not involved, or I wouldn't have let the walleye and the
tarpon.
That wouldn't have happened. I'd be like, get a saying or something.
The walleye looks good on that hat.
As long as you don't see the tarpon part.
As long as you don't see the tarpon scales. But when you see the tarpon scales, it's like, what are you doing?
He's like, I thought it was cool.
It is. It looks good as long as you're like this.
Yeah, keep your hat pulled down, bro.
But as soon as he does this, and you catch a glimpse of that tarpon scale.
Because it's the big tarpon scale. It's not like the little fine, it's a big, like, it's obvious it's tarpon scales. Like, obvious. But yeah, walleye and a tarpon. Because those two hang out together. He was just going off a look, though.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly.
that's all it was. And it looks good. Like, that walleye on that green hat looks good. But
John says it's a tarp eye.
Yep, it is now. That's his tarp eye hat. Oh, Walpin.
It's a
Walpin.
A Walpin or a tarp eye?
Walpin. That's a Walpin hat.
Tarp eye is easier to say than a Walpin. He got his Walpin hat on.
Walpin. That's it.
Oh, Lordy. But yeah. But no, we got hats, and that atrocity came home.
Like I said, it looks good. As long as he's like this.
Keep it down. Keep it down, man. Don't show nobody your...
The moment you get any kind of, like, tilt, you can see the tarpon part anytime you bottom shows.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like...
If he looks up, like, he's like, tarpon. Why is there a walleye on it? I thought it looked cool. That's fine. He did that unsupervised, apparently.
Yep.
I thought you had picked...
No, you sent me to get the youngest, because he went upstairs.
I didn't know he was picking the hats at that point in time.
I sent him up there to an office to start doing homework.
Because that was the other thing. Was Sunday while I'm doing the 4, like to the 2 classes, Group A, Group B, so it's 4 hours back to back. People were coming up to me and either telling me bye or asking me questions, and it was like, ugh. So it's like it's constantly getting interrupted. And when she came up to ask about the hats, because I had told her Friday I wanted to get hats for them, we just never got it sorted out. And obviously we were getting close to us being able to pack up. She was like, what about hats? I was like, yeah, find Wes and he can get our stuff. And she just asked me what color I want. I was like, just pick something, give me something new. And I thought you were with them.
No.
Or I wouldn't, or I would have been like, wait till somebody is supervising them.
You specifically said, go get the youngest, because I had sent him upstairs to do homework.
John's like, I like her hats. I got 8 of them made. We probably have 8 at this point.
Yeah.
My hat that I wear that says I'm the problem, that she made that hat for me. I have a rail seat on a broken rod. What would be the best method to remove it from the broken rod to reuse?
Is it aluminum?
Yeah, what kind of rail seat is it?
Or is it graphite? If it's graphite, good luck. Just scrap it, buy another one.
He could drill it out if he wanted to.
He could.
People use the boiling method a lot.
Mm-hmm. Boiling would work, especially on a broken rod, because at that point, the fibers in the rod don't matter.
Yeah, you just get it as hot as you need to break it free. Although...
And you could honestly just start crushing the blank. Yeah. He'd probably pull out.
Yeah, because it's probably old enough that it would crack the
just
glue.
Take a pair of channel locks and start crushing the blank.
You could drill it. The easiest thing would be to drill it out. It's graphite.
I'd boil it if you really want to save it. You might have to use a heat gun. Get it hot.
If it's older, it's not going to take as long to get it off. If it's newer, it might take longer. It just kind of depends. So, if it fits over a new blank, could you use it?
Yeah. You just arbor the arbor that's underneath the graphite in the rail seat. So you'd have graphite rail seat.
It's a lot of layers.
Blank, arbor, blank.
You
could,
but depends on how far back the new blank bends. Shim it, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But then
when a problem comes along, you can shim it.
Right.
Sorry, I've like horrible ADHD today.
Me personally, I wouldn't try to salvage the graphite roll seat unless it was just like a special one. I would drill it out before I try to boil it. I always get worried about boiling graphite. Wow. I don't know. That's why I don't do a whole lot of repairs and stuff. That kind of stuff trips me out.
Cranked that heat gun up to 500 degrees on a rail seat before.
I know. So I just stumbled across this live broadcast. Is it regular on Sunday nights or is there a certain time of day? So we do these every other Saturday unless there's some big scheduling conflict, and sometimes we'll move it up. But we always announce if we have to do it a different one. So we have the podcast tonight, and it's always at 9 p.m. on a Saturday, well, our time in South Carolina. And our next one won't be next weekend, but it'll be the weekend after. So it's every other weekend we have one.
Jamie said I like to do custom core handles, I'm assuming. What are some good other materials to use with them? I know of acrylic. What is a good one to use? Maybe deer antler.
Deer antler's good. I've seen a lot of people use deer antler with it. Basically, sky's the limit. Just, like wood veneers, things of that nature.
Cork handle.
You can incorporate like the lighter stuff, like the wood veneers or basswood is a really light material with the cork.
Stabilized wood.
Stabilized wood, the deer antlers, poker chips. You can sand those down to add color and stuff of that nature.
Anything.
Acrylic, any of those really thin metal, I don't know what they're called. It's like the copper and the brass and you could do anything with them. So just experiment and have fun with it, honestly. How's the Fort Knox rod coming? What is Fort Knox?
Gold.
The gold rods? Oh, I just got that. We went today for me to go get some more brushes and some more gold metallic paint to kind of play around with. The biggest thing for me is going to be just getting used to the pinstriping style, honestly. Right now it's
more of that constant keep a flow going and continuous line than paint.
I chose the tiniest thing possible to do this on. So taking these really pretty elaborate bigger designs and kind of shrinking them down to make it fit on there. Once I do it, it's going to be pretty cool. One of those I was drawing all over today. The pinstriping on, this is the casting one. So it'll have a design here in this area. It'll have one up here on the hood. And then I've got it in my brain where I'm going to hold it. I'm going to have a straight line coming down the skinniest part. And there's going to be a design here at the bottom too.
Paint me.
My biggest thing is I have designs that I've, shrunk down so that they'll fit. I just want to be able to transfer it so that I can spend more time just doing the strokes more so than trying to draw it as I go kind of thing. It's just going to be a practice thing. I have a lot of people just telling me to get somebody local to do it for me. And I'm sure if I handed this off to somebody who does pinstriping on cars and stuff, they're going to go, no. You know what I mean? Because it's so small. I'm going to take the pinstriping vibe. I think this is how I'm going to have to explain it from now. I'm going to modify it so that I can do the same kind of style, but not actually use their brushes are too big. And the paint wouldn't be a big deal, but...
Yeah, because if you tried to do all the full detail with a true pinstripe brush...
It's too fat.
There it is.
It's too fat. And then other people told me to get decals and get it done. And I had another person tell me that it wasn't worth my time to learn it because how many people would actually want it? And I'm like, I don't know. But I know how to graffiti now, so it's just something to add to the arsenal.
The same amount of people that pay us to do all kind of stuff.
Like, I take pride in learning new skills so that I can use them multiple different ways. But currently, she's still in her pieces and parts.
I'm going to start answering people. Well, why would you learn that skill? Who's going to pay for that? The same people that already pay us $1,500 to $2,500 for a rod. So,
yeah. Could you draw the pinstripe pattern in paper to use the tattoo transfer and paint over it? So that's a great idea, and I would love to be able to do that. But the problem is once I get the paint on there, I also have to
Get the stuff
remove
off.
the ink off of it, which requires to use either acetone or isopropyl, which would remove the paint. So I can't do it that way. I wish I could.
We thought about it.
I really did. My best bet is to either use chalk or to use the graphite paper and just have a hint of the design on it. So that's going to be the biggest thing, is getting it transferred. I have done the graphite paper before and had good luck with it, because all of the Star Wars series rods that I had, Luke and the Stormtrooper, the Mandalorian, and Darth Vader, they were all transferred with graphite paper. So I didn't have any issues with that. But when I was trying to do the pinstripe ones, I couldn't get it to show up for some reason. And so I thought, well, dang, I'm going to have to reset this. But I know I've done it in the past on them with the graphite paper. I just have to figure out why this particular one isn't wanting to work. It's also more personal when you do it. It is. It is. You're more proud of it because you taught yourself how to do it. You got it done.
And then she learns it, and
I learn it.
Next vehicle, I can get pinstriping.
Or I can practice. I can pinstripe my car, like, and actually get the real brushes and go, oh yeah, this is a lot easier than trying to do it on something that's bigger than my 3 fingers. Like, it's hard to paint on those little tiny ones.
I'm gonna be honest with you, and I love you.
Oh Lord, we're about to say some messed up stuff.
You're too clumsy to pinstripe a car.
Oh, I can steady.
You can steady hand, but you can't steady hand and walk continuously. I'm sorry, you can't. You'd be like, oh yeah. You had a steady hand the whole time, all the way down the side of the car. You laugh because it's true.
It's so true. I wouldn't even be able to sit in a roller and do it because I'd somehow dump.
You'd find a rock somewhere to hit. Mm.
Gosh, it is so true. I am very clumsy, but I wouldn't do the whole car. I'd have to do the start stop. I've watched multiple people do pinstriping, and not every single person. Granted, the really skilled ones are doing the whole, a walk down the whole length of the thing. They got their finger brace. They got the little pads on their fingers so they slides across the material, and it's all and it looks amazing. But then you got the other people that do some really cool stuff, and they start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. And I'm like, I'm a start, stop person all the way through. Because if I have to keep going, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. If there was a way to shine light through a pattern on it like a projector, I don't want to have to buy anything for that. But he's right. That would be the best way to do it. You know how they have those tracing things where it will go to your thing and you can just trace it off?
Yeah, you go on the TikTok shop and get one of those little things and get the pattern on your phone so that it reflects over, and you just it's got the little divider that it reflects onto it. And you're looking through the projector screen so that you see it. And it's like $10. They got it on TikTok shop.
Dang it, John. But yes, dang it, John. Thank you, because I didn't think of that. Because that's so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Projector for pinstriping. So is there something else to mark the blank for measurements besides a China marker and a permanent marker that will not bleed off into white thread? Sharpie paint pen. Extra fine point. They come in multiple different colors. I use those all the time. The thing I will tell you with that, since you don't know about them, is once you open it and follow the directions to shake it and depress the tip to get the paint flowing, do not ever depress the tip again, or it's going to blow up on you, okay? Even if it's not writing, don't depress the tip. It'll explode. Took me a long time to figure this out. But if it's dried out and it's not moving, you just scribble it on something until it comes back to life. Shake it, scribble it, shake it, shake it, scribble it, shake it, scribble it. That's really hard to say. And it will come back to life, and you'll be able to use it multiple times. It doesn't come off while you're wrapping. If you happen to leave the wrap open, then you can use isopropyl alcohol on a Q-tip to take it off. Just don't flood it. Don't get the Q-tip saturated with it so it leaks everywhere, because then it will get into your thread. But that's been the best marking utensil that I've come across yet, just because of the extra fine point. So that's what I recommend. And yes, you can use a pencil on matte blanks, but I personally rub pencil off when I'm working with it, so I don't use that. It also, just to follow up, if you are doing it and it stays under your closed wrap and you close the wrap off, it doesn't have any issues with epoxy. And I can also use that same pen to do like initials or names or write stats or whatever you want to on the rod and seal over it with epoxy, and it's great. And it comes in hundreds of colors. All right, so let's wrap it up. So basically, if you can get to any event where you're learning about rod building, whether it's going to the ICRBE that's coming up in February 2026, whether it's going to the Mudhole Advanced Rod Building Seminars, even if you are not an advanced rod builder, this is an event that's for everybody. The fact that you can have multiple people there. It's not just me and Wes. It's, Bill Falconer's teaching, Mike Roan's teaching, Jim Louzet was teaching, and a bunch of other people were there as well, teaching and explaining their different ways of doing stuff. You're going to pick up on stuff. You're going to learn something, and you're going to have your mind kind of go, why didn't I think of that? And in the conversations that happen on the side, you start to build a community, a friendship. You learn things in conversations with other people that don't even come up during the seminars, because there's only certain topics that we're there to talk about. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to learn something talking to somebody you just met, And me personally, I don't feel like we can ever stop learning. I mean, this year, a few weeks ago, I figured out I was doing my measurements all wrong. And I've been teaching it for 10 years. It literally still is kind of driving me nuts that I have been teaching people 4 threads per millimeter for so long and never questioning why my stuff wasn't coming out right. Just thinking I misread the calipers, I didn't pack it right. I always blamed myself. And it wasn't me. It was the fact that I was using somebody else's math, just taking it as this is the rule, and that's not the case. We all wrap differently, we all pack differently, we all do things slightly different. End result's about the same, but we're going to get there a little bit differently than our neighbor. Hence and forth, me and him don't do epoxy the same way. And he taught me how to do epoxy. So I didn't.
She took a left turn.
He hates how I mix it. And this is what came up during the marbling class, because I'm mixing the epoxy. Now, with marbling, it doesn't really matter, because the paint, he uses acrylic paint, my pigments and all that stuff, it makes the bubbles pop anyway, so it doesn't matter. But we were talking about mixing epoxy, and that you should use the CRB mixer while you're doing stuff, so that you've got one ready to go when you go to use it. But he was talking about how I whip it. And it makes bubbles, like it really does.
I just don't like it. It works.
I put it on so thin. I put mine on so much thinner than you do, so I don't have to worry about the bubbles I produce, because I'm already pulling most of those bubbles off. Everybody's different, and the same thing with the wraps. So I just assumed I was doing something wrong, and I just was using somebody else's math. And that in that realization, now it's going to be not question everything, but really verify my measurements, my spacing, which is going to start me into making my own spacing charts, so that I know that my stuff's going to be right, and I'm not going to be fighting it the whole time. Learning a better way to do the cork stuff. Like, for me, I'm always learning, always going to continue to keep pushing myself to figure how to do something better than I have been doing it. Because just because I've done it this way for 10 years doesn't mean it's the right way. It just means that that's what I've been doing.
Right.
I think everybody should always continue to keep learning. Come to these events when you can. There's always one that Bill Falconer holds in Foley or in Orange Beach, which is the Mastering Rod Building Seminars. That's a great one to go to. ICRBE is a fantastic one to go to, because there's seminars along with buying from vendors and talking with people as well. Obviously, come to Mudhole. They do this once a year with the advanced rod building seminars. There's online and in-person classes, and there's ICAST, but ICAST isn't really about rod builders specifically. It's the fishing industry in general. But any place that you can get, any gatherings, any local groups that are getting together, go join them. Have those conversations with other people. Learn from other people.
Meet your internet friends.
And yeah, like hang out. You guys might actually live pretty close. Like one of the guys that we met this weekend, his boss worked out of Rock Hill for a long time. I'm like, hey, that's where I live, He's like, I know. And I'm like, don't be sketch, Just having those fun conversations with the people. But Bill is a much better singer than I envisioned. Bill is a good singer. You should hear it at Foley or Orange Beach, whenever that happens in April. Usually it's April.
Him and his nephew
got it going on.
That's have like a band right there.
They have a little band. Like it's legit.
It's a 2-man band.
It's legit. Sounds amazing, honestly. Like real good. Like should be recording kind of stuff. So anyways, you should definitely come just for the learning aspect, just for the experience, just to hang out with other builders and see other stuff. And
the brisket.
And the brisket. We're always going to talk about the brisket. Everybody loves the brisket.
That brisket.
We saw the place when we went fishing. We drove past it. The place that this brisket and this barbecue and all this amazing food comes out of
is smaller than our shop.
Is so tiny. It's a little like smokehouse. Like, it's little. It looks so tiny, but all of this massive, amazing food is coming out. And it's been consistent the last 3 years we've been there. It's been amazing every single time. And they make their homemade banana pudding, which you made yourself sick off of eating.
Yeah,
you and Brooke.
Too much.
Brooke ate like 4 servings. Every time I saw
too much of that.
I ate a couple bites of yours, but I was so full. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that to myself. But you should definitely come. Anyways, it's been great hanging out and talking with you guys tonight. I hope you have considered to come to some future seminars in the upcoming years. At least try to make it once. I always feel like learning is better, and learning together, we grow together. That's just kind of how I look at it. And don't forget to use the discount code WRAP10 whenever you order your stuff that you need from mudhole.com.
Especially soul stuff.
CRB, Pro Products, MHX, American Tackle, and the Pro Products. All of that stuff is underneath that, and you can get 10% off anytime throughout the year. And with that, we're going to head out.
Toodles.
Y'all have a great night. Bye.